Hello there, Ange. Thanks for your time. Can I get an update on Radu Dragusin? You weren't sure last night.
Yeah, still not. We'll kind of let it settle down and obviously get some more sort of information over the weekend. Obviously not available for this weekend at the moment, and we just have to see the extent of it.
You're feeling you've had some long-term issues with defenders. This one doesn't look so bad, maybe, or
hard to tell. It's a knee, so like I said, we're just going to let it settle down. But there's always concern when it's a knee injury, but we just don't know the extent.
Just 3 days or so to go in the transfer window. Are you excited?
Yeah, I kind of looked at the date. I was hoping it was all over today, but apparently it's extended till Monday. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
Matty's Tell, obviously a young, promising, accomplished almost player at Bayern Munich. We're hearing that an offer's been made to the club for the player. What have you heard?
Not a great deal. As I usually find out at the tail end of this stuff, what's going on. Obviously we're exploring some opportunities. Hopefully in the last couple of days of the window to see what we can do. But nothing across my desk as yet. Will
you tell us when it is? See what I did there? Tell us.
I reckon the way the world works, you'll probably find out before me, mate. So we'll see.
Just a final one from me, a bit of a change of pace, but after the week that Michael Oliver has had in terms of abuse, online abuse, that kind of abuse that we're seeing in football now, not just referees, when it goes beyond the pale, your thoughts of what we might be able to do about it?
What can we do about it? Well, there is some pretty easy things to do about it, and that is, punish the people who are the perpetrators of it and make examples of them. And, unfortunately, the anonymity of the technical world these days means that people can hide and sort of allow themselves some sort of bravado that they would never have should they actually put their face and name to something. So they're cowards to start with. But, if found out, name them, shame them, put them out there, and we'll see if anyone else follows suit after that. But there should be no tolerance for anybody, whether it's a referee, a player, or anyone else. I think it's been out of hand for a long time now, and I think we're too accepting of it as just part of society. We would never have accepted it before social media if somebody said something like that and we knew who said it or wrote it. There were laws that made that almost impossible to do. But now, like I said, because they hide behind this cloak of anonymity, the cowards have a voice.
Charlie.
Hi, Ange. We saw Micky, of course, return yesterday, but do you
nice
feel that
coat.
he...
I'm freezing. So
I'm actually really quite hot now. Do you feel, though, he's fit enough to play the full 90 on Sunday?
No, we'll see. I think it's important. Probably not 90 only because of the short turnaround. But he felt really good last night. Great to have him out there. Obviously, he's a good player, but you just don't realise how much, of a good player he is until he sort of, I guess that's with a lot of our players who've been missing for quite a while. It's not just the impact they have individually, but the impact they have on the group. I think the whole group got a lift from seeing him out there last night. And like I said, knock on wood, he got through it really well, felt really good afterwards. So the idea is to get him some more game time, build up his minutes over the weekend.
And obviously it was a good night for the Spurs youngsters. Do you feel that they could potentially be involved on Sunday, perhaps from the start? Are they ready for that?
Well, I don't know about the start, but I mean, we've had youngsters starting for quite a while now, 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds, so that doesn't change. But certainly the guys who were involved last night, in terms of, team news, the only one that really becomes available from last night, Jed should be okay for the weekend. Serge Reguilon is a chance as well. But yeah, the rest won't be able to come back, and obviously if we've lost Radu, it'll mean that the young guys who were involved last night will be involved again.
And in terms of Brentford, I think they're the top Premier League scorers at home, have got a really good home record, but they also concede a lot of goals as well. So how do you view the challenge of Brentford on Sunday?
Yeah, look, I think Brentford at their place is a tough one for every club. Like I said, their home form's really good. Look, our league form is not great, and we need to address that. So, irrespective of who we're playing this weekend, particularly after last weekend's performance and result, we need to address that. Obviously, our season still has plenty of opportunity and potential for success this year, but we need to address our league form. And while it's a tough place to go to, we need to go there and make sure we give a good account of ourselves.
With those remaining players still to come back from injury, to use one of your expressions, kind of cabs off the rank, which are the next ones do you think you'll get back?
Look, they're all kind of sliding in around the same time, sort of around 10 days' time. So we're talking about Vicario, Johnson, Destiny, Wilson, Timo. Romero's a bit of a tricky one. We're not really sure yet. There's still some work he needs to do. So, but certainly all those guys, I think our long-term ones, apart from maybe Dom, who's probably another week behind them, the rest of them all kind of slated to sort of the next sort of week to 10 days be available.
With Romero, has it been a setback or just a difficult
Just
one?
a slower healer with him, and it's one we're kind of looking at sort of on a week-to-week basis. And again, he's been out for quite a while, so like with all the other long-term ones, we're just taking our time.
And with centre-backs now, obviously, if Radu is maybe a more serious one, do you have to look at short-term cover there, or are you happy with the options you have remaining with Archie there as well?
I think, like I said, depending on sort of the extent of Radu's, might be an area we need to look at, and certainly over this weekend we'll be exploring some options.
Lucas Bergvall, last night I watched you you're telling him to calm down quite a bit in the first half. Was it the Swedish fans maybe getting in his head a little bit? They were taunting him a little bit, I think.
I don't speak Swedish, mate, so I have no idea. He's 18 years old, and he's such an exciting player. I think sometimes though, like all young players, he made a couple of mistakes early on, and then, he just wanted to atone for those mistakes, and he kind of dug himself a little bit of a hole where he was trying to do things a little bit, a little bit too complicated, and it was just sort of the message to get him to settle down and kind of just keep the game simple, get his rhythm back. But the thing is with Lucas, even when he's kind of making those mistakes, he just works awfully hard. He never stops running, and it's such a great asset for him to have that. But with experience, I'm sure, probably in his mind, it was a big game for him. I mean, of course it was, but playing against a club from his own country, I think, but that's the reason we're exposing these guys. The more experiences they have like that, the better they'll be able to deal with them further down the track.
Bradley.
Hi, Ange. Hope you're well. The fact you mentioned there the number of players that are going to be back in potentially in the next 10 days, added to Micky van der Ven as well. Can you see the light at the end of the tunnel now? The fact you've potentially got so many players potentially going to be back in the next 10 days to 2 weeks?
Yeah, I hope so, mate. But every time I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, it's usually been an oncoming train. We seem to be losing players as we get them back. But I think so. I think with all, if we can get, even if not, they all don't come back together, even two or three of them. Like I said, we saw the impact Micky has. So when you're looking, and I didn't include Matters in that as well, so Matters are probably around the same time. We get two or three of those back in sort of 10 days' time, and then maybe, a few days later, a couple of the others, and provided, it's why I'm trying to manage the minutes of the guys we have available, because we don't want to lose anyone else. But again, best laid plans, we obviously tried to shield Radu last night because he had played a lot of football in the first half, and he comes on and he gets injured, sort of. So again, you can't plan for these things. So hopefully, we've got a big week coming up for sure, starting Sunday, and we're going to have to do it with this sort of core group of players. So we just got to be careful about how we go about it.
You were telling me last week that you were 100% certain that the club had made so much progress since you've been at the club. Look, as we approach the last couple of days of the transfer window and going into the next 6 to 12 months, what are the next steps for Spurs now, do you think?
Look, I don't think we can look too far ahead right now because there's a couple of immediate sort of objectives that we need to really tackle. One is our league form. We need to kind of rectify that and improve that, and find some consistency in that. And then there's some fairly big opportunities over the next sort of month or so for us to make an impact in a couple of tournaments starting Thursday night. So, I think that's where kind of my head's at the moment. Beyond that, like I said, as you mentioned, I really believe there's been some growth in the guys we've got here, which I think we'll see the benefits of further down the track. But right now, the main objective and criteria is to look at what's in front of us.
And lastly, looking ahead to Sunday, what have you made of the job Thomas Frank has done at Brentford? Because he's really solidified their space in the Premier League and really helped them to kick on in his time at the club.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people forget it wasn't that long ago that sort of to sort of have Brentford as a Premier League outfit would have been unheard of. But I think the whole club deserves credit. Definitely Thomas, but the whole club, it's a well-run club. They've got a clear identity. They've got a clear idea about what they want to do and who they are and the way they do their business. And, I think there's a few clubs now who are understanding that's the way forward. You kind of set yourself up with a plan. You kind of find the individuals, the people that will drive that and you stay the course. Thanks, bud.
Finish with George, please.
Your first game was away to Brentford.
Sure was.
17, 18 months ago. A lot has happened since then.
17, 18 years ago, it feels like, yeah.
I was going to say, does it feel like that a long time ago now?
Yeah, it does. I mean, look, I guess the average tenure of a manager these days isn't that long anyway. So I think if you manage to stay in a job for a while, it does feel like a long time ago when I think about everything that's transpired since then. I think it was the day after we'd sold Harry to Bayern, and it was a fair challenge that was before us. I think we scored. Kuti got concussed. We had to take him off. It was like that should have been a sign for me for things to come. It was never going to be smooth sailing, but enjoyable all the same.
And there's obviously the squad's had a real big turnover since then, and you've obviously got some really exciting younger players. Kind of 18 months down the line, would you have kind of hoped the squad was in a bit more of a stronger position to kind of tackle 4 competitions and not face what you've kind of faced over the last 2 months?
Look, I mean, I guess people looking at it from now would say, that's probably the case, but we've just had to deal with a real extreme situation that, unfortunately, once we got hit with what we got hit with, it's then very hard to sort of rectify on the run because, we obviously got some significant injuries early on, which kind of hampered our progress, and then we had to rely on a sort of small group of players to get us through that, and that sort of burdened them as well. So it was kind of this vicious circle of us not being able to get out of, the sort of cycle we were in. So, when you sit here now, you say, maybe we could have had a sort of more robust squad. But I think, I've said before, I just think the volume of games that clubs are playing with, I think we've been hit to an extreme situation, but I think a lot of clubs are facing similar hurdles who are in Europe. If you're in Europe these days, particularly Champions League or Europa, it's tough to sort of maintain a competitiveness in, with squad numbers and a level of performance. And obviously we've done well in the Carabao Cup, which has added even more games to us. So all these kind of things have added a burden. But there's been some lessons learnt for sure.
And just finally from me, Lucas and Archie were sort of the veterans in terms of experience last night towards the end. They've really stepped up for you. When you do get players back, are you kind of wary of how much they've played over these last 2 months, and are they maybe sort of due a little rest if you can kind of take them out?
Yeah, look, I think that's something that I am sort of mindful of because, I mean, depending on our sort of progress, there's still a fair bit of football to play for us. Europe certainly, there's still a number of games in that. Obviously, potentially at least one game in the Carabao Cup, but hopefully two. Still in the FA Cup, so apart from the league, so there's still a fair bit of football, and I think it would do Archie and Lucas some good just to freshen them up a little bit. Kind of Mike is at the other end of the scale. He kind of obviously missed a couple of months, but you can see that he's kind of playing with a bit of energy now, and but at the same time, if their performances keep stacking up and they're warranted to play, then we'll keep selecting them because they've been really good performers for us.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there. Move on to the embargoed section for.